guys, welcome back to This Place, and if you are new, then welcome here for the very first time. I am Carmen.
I'm Calvin.
And today we are watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, Season 2, Episode 7, and I don't know what it's called, because I never look at the title. And
no, I covered up the title this time.
I'm still going to see it at the beginning of the episode.
But that's the episode. I don't want you making, like, ideas or, like, concepts or whatever in the beginning while you're talking about what happened last time.
Speaking of, last time on Avatar, we had the introduction of a new character who is, let me see if I can say it right, Toph. Yeah? Toph. And she is this really cool, badass, daredevil-like character. And I quite like her so far. She has joined Team Avatar, and I think that that's going to...
Her dad let her join.
Yeah, let her. And I think it's going to bring...
Go well.
Sure. It's going to at least make for an interesting dynamic between characters, because anytime you add a new character into an established group of characters, it's going to shift things. Especially when said characters are adolescents with lots of hormones and feelings that are more difficult to regulate because of their age. So.
And their hormones. And their age.
Yes, all of that. Elsewhere, we have Zuko and Iroh, not together though. They're both in separate parts of the kingdom somewhere. Azula is somewhere with her girl gang as well. Ozai, I presume, is still in the Fire Nation, being evil and stuff. But, what?
You're like recapping every character.
I know, it's unnecessary, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just funny.
You have some
Ozai is still sitting on his throne. What?
You have some in your tube.
He's like, Boomy is in the box.
He is, if you're wondering. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now, and we're just going to get into the episode and see what happens this time and which of these characters appears.
Ow! Hey! You throwing eggs at us, stranger?
No.
You see who did throw it?
No.
Egg had to come from somewhere.
Maybe a chicken flew over.
Thanks for your contribution. The army appreciates your support.
Thanks for not ratting me out.
Maybe don't do shit like that, kid.
I'll take you to my house and feed your ostrich horse for you. Come on, I owe you.
Your hostage horse?
Ostrich horse.
Oh, I thought he said hostage horse. I was like, this child is correct.
You a friend of Lee's?
Pig rooster?
This guy just stood up to the soldiers. By the end, he practically had them running away.
Does this guy have a name?
He doesn't have to say who he is if he doesn't want to, Seela.
Supper's going to be ready soon. Would you like to stay?
I can't. I should be moving on.
Gonsu could use some help on the barn. Why don't you two work for a while, and then we'll eat.
That's
You
doesn't
don't
look like
seem
he's
like
doing
you're from around here.
Yeah.
Not very good.
Where are you from then?
Far away.
Oh. Where are you going?
Lee, give it a rest.
Far away.
Stop asking the man personal questions, got it?
I'm sure that
How'd
sounds
you get that scar?
boring.
Oh.
It's not nice to bother people about things they might not want to talk about. A man's past is his business.
We're getting flashbacks. Oh my god, these little animals are so weird and cute. A turtle duck?
Zuko!
Oh,
Why
God.
would you do that?
Right? Oh, poor little turtle duck.
Ow! Ow, ow.
You deserved it. I don't feel bad.
Why'd you do that?
Because you were
Zuko,
mean to her.
That's what moms are like. If you mess with their babies, they're gonna bite you back.
His mom seemed nice.
Azula?
Oh, it's May, right?
What's this? Mom, can you make Zuko play with us? We need equal teams to play a game.
I don't want to play with you.
We are
Why?
brother and
'Cause
sister.
they're
It's important for us to spend time together. Don't you
lying.
think so, Mom?
She's
Yes,
lying.
darling. I think it's
I
a
don't
good
trust her.
idea to play with your sister.
Try to knock the apple off the other person's head, like this. See, I told you it would work. Aw, they're so cute together.
Girls are crazy.
If the city is as magnificent as its wall,
Ba Sing
Ba
Se.
Sing Se must be something to behold. I hope you all may see it someday.
Like he has brown
See,
hair.
don't burn it to the ground first.
So funny.
For Zuko, a pearl dagger from the general who surrendered when we broke through the outer wall. Note the inscription and the superior craftsmanship.
Never give up without a fight.
Is that the one that he cut his ponytail off with? Child. Best be careful.
Yeah.
You're gonna dull the blades so much.
Keep in mind, these are dual swords. Two halves of a single weapon. Don't think of them as separate, because they're not.
I think you'd really like my brother Sensu.
Not sure.
Not sure if your brother Sensu would like him.
What do you
Those
think they
drinks.
want?
Trouble.
Just thought someone ought to tell you your son's battalion got captured. You boys hear what the Fire Nation did with their last group of Earth Kingdom prisoners?
Dressed them up in Fire Nation uniforms and put them on the front line unarmed, way I heard it.
Well, are they not Earth Kingdom? Why would they be happy about that? Doesn't make sense.
They're shitty guys.
Why bother rooting around in the mud with these pigs?
Y'all are the pigs.
Iroh has lost his son. Your cousin,
Oh,
Lieutenant,
yeah.
did not survive the battle.
I'm going to find Sensu and bring him back.
That's dangerous because if you don't come back, then they have all that to do themselves.
Here, I want you to have this. Read the inscription.
Made in Earth Kingdom.
The other one.
Never give up without a fight. Uncle's coming home.
Does that mean we won the war?
No. It means Uncle's a quitter and a loser.
What are you talking about? Uncle's not a quitter.
Oh, yes, he is. A real general would stay and burn Ba Sing Se to the ground, not lose the battle and come home crying.
How do you know what he should do?
Yeah. How dare he have emotions?
Fire Lord Azulon. He's not exactly the powerful Fire Lord he used to be. Someone will probably end up taking his place soon.
Young lady, not another word. What is wrong with that child?
A lot, clearly.
She's a true prodigy.
You'll never catch up.
I'd like to demonstrate what I've been learning.
Aww.
I failed.
No.
No,
I
you
loved
tried.
watching you. That's who you are, Zuko. Someone who keeps fighting even though it's hard.
He got back up and did it again.
Just tell me what you want. Everyone else go.
He's probably gonna kill you to take over your spot.
Revoke Iroh's birthright. I am your humble servant, here to serve you and our nation. Use me.
You dare suggest I betray Iroh, my firstborn, directly after the demise of his only beloved son? I think Iroh has suffered enough. But you, your punishment has scarcely begun.
Dad's going to kill you. Really, he is.
Haha, Zula.
Grandfather said Dad's punishment should fit his crime. You must know the pain of losing a firstborn son by sacrificing your own.
Liar.
I'm only telling you for your own good.
Dad would never do that to me.
Your father would never do what to you? What is going on here?
I don't know.
It's time for a talk.
Yeah, please, don't listen to her innocent act. It's such a fake act.
It's Lee. The thugs from town came back as soon as Gonsu left. When they ordered us to give them food, Lee pulled a knife on them. I don't even know where he got a knife. Then they took him away. They told me if Lee's old enough to fight, he's old enough to join the army.
Hey, there he is! I told you he'd come!
Let the kid go.
Who do you think you are, telling us what to do?
It doesn't matter who I am, but I know who you are.
Yeah.
You're not soldiers. You're bullies. Freeloaders abusing your power. Mostly over women and kids. You don't want Lee in your army.
Are you gonna let this stranger stand there and insult you like this?
You can't even fight your own battles? That just proves that everything he's saying is accurate. Fucking dead. You know, he doesn't hurt enough, I mean. He doesn't even have to try with these people.
Yep.
Like, there's...
Doesn't he even have to bend?
No. Look at him thinking he's Thor.
Give him a left! A left!
It's not a fist fight.
He's got a left sword, don't he?
That guy just, he wants to see a fight. Hey, it's been a while probably since he's seen something entertaining.
Yeah.
Zuko, please, my love, listen to me. Everything I've done to protect you.
I believe her.
Remember this, Zuko. No matter how things may seem to change, never forget who you are.
She sacrificed herself for him? She actually seems like the only, besides Iroh, decent person in his family. Oh fuck, he firebended.
Yep.
Who are you?
My name is Zuko, son of Ursa and Fire Lord Ozai, Prince of the Fire Nation and heir to the throne.
Liar! I heard of you! You're not a prince, you're an outcast! His own father burned and disowned him!
Not a step closer.
He literally came to help him.
You should have it.
No, I hate you.
This is a stupid reaction, but okay.
Where's Mom?
No one knows. Oh, and last night, Grandpa passed away.
Not funny, Azula.
Passed
You're
away.
sick. And I want my knife back. Now.
He was murdered
Who's
by
going to
Ozai.
make me? Mom?
Where is she?
Where is she?
As was your dying wish, you are now succeeded by your second son.
That wasn't his dying wish. In fact, it was the opposite of what he wished. Okay, so first, sorry.
Go ahead.
We got an all Zuko episode, which it's called Zuko Alone, which I don't know why I didn't think that meant that it would literally just be Zuko, but I'm here for it, okay? Like,
I mean, it's the Zuko by himself, and then also...
It's a play on words. Like,
Yeah.
he's alone, he's not with Iroh anymore, and then also this episode
It's
is
just you.
Zuko alone.
Just Zuko.
Yeah. But, like, you know that I love me some Zuko, okay? He might be my favorite character on the show. Like, I just think that he's very fascinating, and I really like the way that he's written, and the voice actor I feel is really, really good. Like, he has a lot of like emotion and stuff in his voice.
Dante Basco.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
no, he's really good.
I adore Zuko. So I loved this episode. Although,
you've seen Hook, right?
Yeah.
He's...
You know I have.
Okay. He's the leader of the...
Lost Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know what happened to Zuko's mom. There's a lot of shady shit happening. I don't think she's dead. I think that whatever she did, based off what we saw for Zuko, was a sacrifice that she had to make in order to ensure that Zuko was safe in the way that she could ensure his safety, right? Because while Azula does lie a lot, as we saw in this episode, she was an evil little child, and now she's an evil little adult child. She's not an adult, she's like a teenager now. But I don't know. I am inclined to believe her about Ozai killing Zuko. Although I'm not inclined to believe that that's what the grandfather would have said. Although, I don't know, he wasn't very nice to Zuko either, so...
He was getting quite angry that Ozai suggested taking
it away from
Iroh's birthright away.
Yeah. Which is, like... It's interesting, because, okay, so... All of this seemed to happen in very quick succession, right?
Mm-hmm.
Succession. So that makes me think, like, when Iroh returned from the war, because he was returning, right?
Yeah.
That was the thing. He was on his journey home. So you mean to tell me that he went to Ba Sing Se, had this horrible defeat, really, right? You know, he lost his son. He decided to leave, to retreat.
Well, he was winning.
Yeah.
He had broken the outer wall of Ba Sing Se, and during that battle, he lost his son.
Yeah.
And it broke him, so he quit the battle.
Yeah, so he decided to retreat. Because I remember, like, they've talked about it before, like, Ba Sing Se is, like those soldiers were making fun of him for it, remember, like, all that stuff. But what I'm saying, like, so he left, like, in defeat, like, in shame, whatever, you know, you want to call it. Like, I don't think there's any shame in defeat, but they would, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so he leaves in defeat. He's coming home, you know, to his dad, who is the Fire Lord, his brother, his family, everything. He lost his son. So you mean to tell me that, like, he just walks through the doors and then all of a sudden his dad's dead. His brother's the Fire Lord now because supposedly that was his dad's dying wish. Mm-hmm. And his sister-in-law is just gone. Nobody mentions her. Like, presumed dead, I guess. I don't know. They literally don't say anything about it. Like, even Zuko, like, is like, hey, where's mom or whatever. And his dad just doesn't say anything. And he's like, he knows that's, like, she's just gone. You know what I mean? So, like, I just imagine, like, all of that, and then Iroh comes home. Like, it's no mystery that he would, like, then connect with Zuko, right? Because he was writing letters, not to Ozai, but to her. And she was reading them. And he was giving gifts to Zuko and Azula, you know, his niece and nephew. But, I mean, obviously he didn't know Azula that well, because he got her a doll. But I feel like that's also because Azula presented herself a different way than she really was. Like, when she was talking to, like, her mom and stuff, right? And she's like, can Zuko play with us? Like, we just want him to play. And then when Zuko's there, she's like, okay, this is what's gonna happen, bitch. You know? It's like, but her mom, like, she finally saw through it at the end, obviously. But I don't know. I think this is like, Azula obviously got a lot of who she is from Ozai. 99% of who she is from Ozai. Like, maybe all of it. I don't know. Whereas Zuko clearly was spending a lot of time with his mother, who's Ursa, right? That's her. Mm-hmm. And she was a much kinder, gentler person. And I think that Zuko got a lot of his good qualities from her, and then later on, Iroh as well, you know? And I think that a lot of the harshness that Zuko has is born of trying to be like his father, to be somebody he thinks his father wants him to be, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas who he naturally is isn't that. But I think that this episode showed me more than anything that Zuko is the character that is so much better. I don't know how to say it. Like, he's obviously more relatable. But, like, who is a better character? The character who does it perfectly the first time or whatever? Or the character who falls down, fucks up, tries again, fucks up, tries again? Like, he just keeps getting up and trying. To me, if I'm the grandfather watching that child is more impressive to me because they didn't do it right the first time. Like, what if Azula had fucked up? That would have been more interesting because I don't think, she doesn't know what it's like to fuck up and then try again. She's never had to do that,
Yeah.
So she's
never learned from failure.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the thing. She's only ever learned from success and how easy things are. But then when she encounters actual challenge, she's going to be at a loss because she's never had to
deal with that before.
To deal with that.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm...
And that's exactly what his mom said. Like, I loved watching you because that's who you are. You never give up, no matter how hard it is.
Exactly. And, if I'm the leader of a kingdom, the person who messes up, like the kid, like I said, that's more impressive to me because you're never going to make all the right decisions, especially when you're a kingdom, you're at war. There's never going to be all the right decisions made. So when you mess up, when something bad happens, how are you going to then learn from that and keep going? It was interesting to see Azula as a child, although Azula as a child is 0% different than Azula as an adult.
Yeah,
from what we've seen so far.
Apparently has never matured past being a little 12-year-old brat.
Yeah. It was interesting to see Zuko because I mentioned this last time. We saw a flashback with Zuko and it was the flashback of him and Iroh taking him into the war room, right? That one. Mm-hmm. That episode he looked so much more innocent in his eyes. And obviously in this one he's a child, so he looks even younger. But it's the innocence that is in his eyes that isn't there now, which I just think is such a cool detail of the animation that they're able to to portray. Speaking
of that scene, what do you think about that now? Because that scene that you saw before took place after the flashback in this episode.
I think that he was still more... There's levels of innocence, right? As you grow up, obviously, depending on what you go through, different times, blah blah, you lose innocence. You lose your childhood bit by bit. And I think that his mom was the first piece, right? His mom, his grandfather, all that stuff. And then in the flashback from before, he was still innocent, but not as innocent as then. And I think that Iroh kind of took the place of his mom and who was guiding him, who was being there for him. And obviously he was still with Ozai to an extent. Ozai's his dad and he was training him and stuff, right? Or not? Or was that Iroh?
It was probably Iroh because we saw Iroh continuing to teach him aboard the ship that he was banished on. And from the behavior that we saw of Ozai reacting to his son and his daughter both performing for the Fire Lord.
He immediately smiles when it's Azula and frowns when it's Zuko.
As soon as Zuko steps up, he
frowns.
He frowns.
He hadn't even done anything yet. He hadn't... Yeah, he clearly has a bias against his son. But, I don't know, it didn't really make me see that flashback any differently. I think that it just was, added to, the backstory more, it just gave me more context to
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what I was meaning. Since it's in a different context, do you think about that scene differently at all?
I don't think I think of it any differently. It's
because
it's just more context as to who Ozai is and who Zuko is and who Iroh is, which it just solidifies my feelings on each of the characters, knowing even more backstory about them. Although I do think that...
Because at that point where Iroh was taking Zuko into the war room, his mother had already been gone for a while. And he is kind of... before it was Ozai with Azula, and then Ursa with... Zuko. And Iroh kind of stepped into that role of being the parent that was there.
Yeah.
and Zuko kind of became the son that Iroh lost.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting dynamic there that you
is.
don't really see all of it the first time, all the levels. You see some of it, like obviously, at that point, Iroh has lost his son and he's taking care of Zuko, but I wonder how Iroh felt about Ozai's wife,
I feel like
her being gone.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I was going to say. I feel like that is probably what shifted Iroh to change a little bit too, because as we saw and he's writing the letter, I assume that when he's writing the letter that they got was before his son, or he had learned of his son's death.
Yeah.
He seemed a bit more arrogant, right? A little bit more.
He's like, oh, this is a beautiful city. I can't wait to show you guys if we don't burn it to the ground.
Yeah, and he was laughing at his little kind of horrible joke, really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that it's kind of interesting, right? Because I think that Iroh was probably, this is an assumption, obviously, because I have only seen 2 flashbacks of Iroh, and they were much smaller contained than this entire episode of Zuko. But that's the first, I have never seen a flashback of Iroh prior to that flashback, right? That's the earliest we've ever seen Iroh, up to this point in the story, the youngest that he was. And so I can imagine that he might have been less like Ursa and a little bit more like Ozai, maybe. And I think maybe losing his son changed him. And then coming home and Ursa's gone, Zuko's kind of floundering, Ozai and Azula are being evil together. There's this, his father's dead. Whereas Ursa, he probably understands, like he said to Zuko before, you don't, or at least implied, you don't know your father like I know your father. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that maybe he knew that Ozai was bad, but he didn't realize...
He's also said in the past, sorry, go ahead.
He didn't realize how bad, maybe, until all of this happened. And then he was like, oh... okay, he's willing to do whatever it takes. Because I think that Ozai killed his father. That's just, I feel like a pretty popular opinion, maybe. I don't know. But
it's fairly heavily implied.
Yeah.
Azulon was getting very upset with Ozai. And it seemed like he was going to go completely opposite of what
wanted.
Ozai was asking of him. And
then he went and then all of this stuff happened, and what Ozai wanted happened.
He just died in his sleep. How terrible.
Yeah. Sorry, now what were you going to say?
No, it's okay. We heard tell Ozai. No. We've heard Iroh say before about his brother, I've known him to do a lot of things, but not once has he ever been regretful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the second that Azula came and she was like, oh, Dad feels bad, he regrets the stuff, Iroh was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it. This is definitely a trap, which, I think, like I said, I think that Iroh maybe wasn't as good of a person as I think that he is now when he was younger, but I don't think he was ever on the level of Ozai. But I think that his son's death and taking over that fatherly role for Zuko, maybe realizing he had a chance to do it over and he could maybe do it better this time,
Yeah, or at least give Zuko a chance where he's not being given one now.
Yeah, which, to be fair, I don't know what Iroh's son was like. He could have been a real great guy. Iroh could have done an amazing job.
Yeah.
But just based off the tiny little snippet, that's all I can base it off of, because that's all I've seen of Iroh writing the letter. He seemed a little arrogant and a little bit different than the Iroh. Did I say it was I meant Iroh? If I did. He just seemed a little bit different than the Iroh that we know today. Who's just drinking his little tea and eating his little cakes and loving his little exiled life, Although to be fair, maybe he does love the exiled life, because if that was my life and then I finally got a chance to be free of it for a hot minute, you would probably be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to sit here in this forest, enjoy this tea, hang out with these like small town people, it's gonna be great. You know.
What did you think about the Earth Village, the Earth Kingdom Village?
It needs to be said, I love the weird ass animals that they have in this show.
The ostrich horse and the turtle ducks.
Like, I want little plushies of all of them, like the weird little what was it, pentapus. I love the turtle ducks. They are really, I wish turtle ducks were real because they're so cute.
They're almost real.
Really?
Platypus ducks.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah.
They don't have a shell, but they're...
But turtle ducks are so cute.
To be fair, they're more like otter ducks than anything.
Turtle ducks are really cute. The pig rooster was interesting. They have like sheep cows. Like, I don't know. They
had pig cows.
Pig cows.
Pig sheep.
Pig sheep, yeah.
Pig sheep and pig roosters.
There was a cow thing too, but I'm not exactly sure what that was. But
it also looked like a pig cow, but I don't know.
But
they're just breeding pigs with everything. That's not how it works.
That's not. I know. But anyway, that's beside the point. I just love the animals and they're cute. But sorry about the Earth Village town. Those guys were just assholes. Like the little group of the four. They were. There's people, and it does happen in real life all the time. But when a tragedy happens or something bad happens or something like that, there's always going to be people that are going to take advantage of that to capitalize for their own personal gain. So that's not surprising. It's like, it sucks, but it's to be expected.
Yeah. I mean, whenever there is a power shift and someone realizes that they're in a position where no one is either able to stop them or cares enough to stop them, like, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And a lot of people, unfortunately, in those situations will abuse it.
Yeah.
Because there's no consequences, until someone like Zuko comes along, and that's why they want to run him off.
Because
this guy,
he's threatening their good thing,
Yeah.
Like their good thing of taking advantage of these people and stuff.
Yeah.
I will say, I feel like that Zuko made a good impression. He had a connection with this boy. He saw himself in him, I think, a little bit, and he tried to help him. And when the boy was in need of help, the mom came to Zuko crying. She was so upset. And Zuko, who didn't actually have to do anything, he dropped everything and he went and he helped the boy, you know?
I mean, he was sitting in a field. It's not like he dropped much.
No, but I'm saying he didn't have to do anything, He didn't...
He was under no obligation.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, we'll give you a cot and 3 hots and you protect our farm.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like that. Like, he was already on his way out of the village.
Yeah, and so but he did, and I feel like I was just a little disappointed. Like, I understand that there's a stigma against the Fire Nation. I understand that he's literally Prince Zuko, and, he's saying...
He's like almost the embodiment of everything bad that has happened to the Earth Nation.
But my thing is, just like Zuko meeting these people can start to shift his perspective of who the Fire Nation is and who the Earth Nation is and who everyone is in relation to each other, right? Because he was raised a certain way to feel a certain way about all the other nations, right? And slowly over time, he's starting to meet these people who have been very kind to him and the Earth Kingdom, especially. I think that's the only people we've seen him really interact with so far. And so his perspective of them is shifting and we can see it, I just think that it would have been a nice story for them to understand who he was and to say, okay, but we see that you helped us. You're not like, you're not like the others. You're not like everybody else. I don't know. Like, the sins of the father aren't the sins of the son. You know what I'm saying? So,
no, but they don't know that they aren't the sins of the son.
I mean, that one guy's like, hey, you're not even part of the Fire Nation anymore. You've been exiled. So they've heard that. So why would you not assume then that he would be against the Fire Nation since he's helping you? You know what I mean?
But he's still attacking Earth Nation soldiers. And just the fact that he did.
They're not soldiers. They're still there. They're not fighting.
They are soldiers. They're not real soldiers. The real soldiers went off to battle.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody.
But they are the ones that are tasked with protecting the village.
Everybody in that town is cheering as he's beating the shit out of them.
Yeah,
so they don't have any.
Because they're shitty.
Yeah, but that's
not
what I'm
because
saying.
they're not soldiers.
Okay, but my point is, like, it's not like he came into town and, like, beat up people that they liked. And my point is, like, I just wish that those people had been able to see past their prejudice and see the for him for who he is as a person and what he did for them in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but there's a lot of years of oppression and fear that goes along with a firebender.
I get that, but
and that's all it was to it. Is just the fact that he was a firebender.
No, I know, and I understand that, but he also, like I said, I get their hesitation, but when someone has shown who they are, and who they are isn't who you believed they might be, I feel like you should understand that, like, that's who they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
But it's also a shock. You know, it's the knee-jerk reaction that I feel like that bias is built on, you know?
I will say, I feel like the dad had some idea, or he knew that there was something, because he kept, which is just polite in general, but he kept stopping the son from questioning too much, right? He's like, hey, he doesn't owe you his story if he's not ready to tell you it, you know?
Which I really like. Like, you know, it goes back to a lot of things, but like, you know, someone who doesn't want to share their past or their experiences doesn't have to just because you want them to.
Yeah, they don't owe you the details of who they are or what traumatic thing happened to them to make them who they are. Like, they don't owe you that because you're curious about it, you know?
Yeah.
That's not
It's not their responsibility to build you a picture of them in your mind.
Exactly. I'm really interested in and hopeful that we could meet Zuko's mom at some point. Like, I don't know where she went, what happened to her. I hope she's not dead. It didn't seem like she was dead. It seemed like something else. So I don't know. I would love for her to still be alive and for there to be the possibility of a reunion in the future with her and Zuko, because I'm pretty sure it would make me cry. Because I don't know, I just really like Zuko, you know? I think, like I said, I think he's my favorite character. I loved this episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. Like, I feel like I could say so much more, but I don't know where to start or what to say. You know what I mean? It's just a really good episode. I think I need to sit with it a little bit longer too, so I can think about everything about it and stuff, because there's just a lot. Like, I feel like it's filling in a lot of the gaps for who Zuko is and who Zuko was and who Zuko might grow to be at some point. Like, I would fucking love like Ozai. I mean, obviously Aang has to fight Ozai and stuff, but like Zuko, Iroh, Aang, Sokka, Katara versus like Ozai, Azula, whatever, you know? Like boss battle.
Yeah,
you know?
that would be pretty awesome.
Like, I would be here for that, because I still think that even though he doesn't know it, like, Zuko is really on Team Avatar. You know, he's an honorary member. At least to me. I love slower episodes, and I know there's like a negative connotation with like slow, but like, well, I don't mean slow as in like the story is slow. I mean, it's like telling me a story. It's giving me.
There's a difference between a episode being slow, as in like grinding the flow of a season to a halt, and letting a story breathe in its shoes.
Yeah, it's
This,
that one.
This episode let the story breathe.
Mm-hmm.
It was slow in the fact that there wasn't a tremendous amount of action or travel or excitement,
which
or
is fine.
anything
Like I
like
prefer that, honestly. I prefer
it focused more on the characters than the plot.
I prefer like a slow build, like really character introspective sort of episode. Like I live for that because I am a character driven person. Like I enjoy like things that are highly character driven, you know, rather than plot driven. What?
You said that again.
I know, I was trying to clarify.
Yeah.
Like I would choose character driven over plot driven any day of the week.
Yeah.
Because I think that if I don't give a shit about the characters, I don't give a shit about what's happening to them in the plot, you know? So I feel like episodes like this, I love. Like, I talked about this before, too, right? I was like, I want an episode on Kyoshi and Roku. Like, I want these kinds of episodes because I think that they have a lot of value. Like, I would watch, like, if the next episode was, like, just Zuko again, I'd be like, yeah, good. Like, let's do this again. Like, that would be exciting. Or Iroh, you know? Like, yeah, I don't know. Zuko's my favorite. And so, yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes. If not my favorite. Well, I really, really liked the finale of season 1 with Yue and all that. That was really good.
Yes.
And
the Northern Water Tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those 2 episodes and this episode are probably, like, my top 3 favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I would honestly just watch this episode again. Like, right now, I would just go back and, like, watch it all through again.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. And I feel like, I don't know, I want to watch it again because I'm, like, scared that I missed something or I didn't make some connection and I want to make it, you know? If that makes sense. Like, I don't think we talked enough about, I know this is, like, I'm supposed to be done, but I don't think we talked enough about, I just think Ursa is a really interesting character and I want to see more of her.
Mm-hmm.
I know I said that, but I really like her. I thought she was really interesting and I would just love to see her and the Zuko that we know now interact.
Mm-hmm.
I would just love to see it.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like she after Zuko threw the bread at the turtle ducks and the mother duck like attacked him and I was like, ow, why'd she do that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's what mothers do. Like you hurt one of their babies and they go after you.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that her name, I believe it's Latin, but Ursa, like the
Ursa
constellation,
Major. Yeah.
is a bear.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, like a mama bear?
Like a mama bear.
That's cool. Are you getting teary?
Hmm?
It sounded like you like choked up saying that.
I need a drink.
No, but that is cool. Like I was thinking of like Ursula from Little Mermaid. But that is cool. Anyway, that is all that I have to say about this episode. I absolutely adore Zuko, so give me 800 more episodes of this, please. There's not even 800 more episodes of the show.
I was going to say, you're like a third of the way through season 2.
Anyway, well, don't make me sad. I don't want to think about the fact that I'm getting towards the end.
Yeah.
But that is all that we're going to say about this episode. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you can like, comment, subscribe if you want. No pressure.
Do it. It helps the algorithm.
It does.
And we don't want to be like those people that say like, oh, here's a diagram, like 70% of you aren't subscribed. Fucking subscribe.
If you want to.
Subscribe to her.
You really don't have to if you don't want to. Honestly.
You have to.
You don't. Anyway. You can watch the next episode right now over on Patreon. And that is all for now. Until the next episode, which will be Zuko Alone Part 2.
It's on Patreon right now.
I don't know what the next episode is. We will see you then, though. Bye, guys. Have a good whatever day it is when you're watching this.
Saturday.